let people in when they're
That's
ready.
great.
So I am so excited, Marie. We're just going to jump right in. I'm so excited to see you today. I'm so excited to see you every day. Any day
Me
that I can
too.
see you, I'm happy.
I am always happy to see you too. It's been 10 years, more or less. So
It's been 10
since
years.
I mean,
So
almost. My son is
27,
10 years. I was almost end
20,
pregnancy with him.
yes.
So
So it
10
was
years ago.
2017 when we started working together. So it's almost exactly 10 years. So I'm going to introduce you to this group the way that I know you and work with you so they get a very good context about our relationship and why I trust you with any business that I run. So I met you when you came in for a interview when I was hiring a marketing person part-time, just a consultant to help with different marketing strategies. So we were looking at newsletters, we were looking at social media, we were looking at a number of things. And you were working for a small French clothing, like kids
Yes,
clothing line in San
I
Francisco.
was.
Yeah. So I was like
Mini
the
chic.
mini chic. Yes. Très bien. Très
So
bien.
French.
Right, right, right. And you had moved over from France because your
Yes,
husband's work. Yeah. And you were already had your older child and um, about to have your second child as well.
yep,
And that was 2017. And I ended up hiring you and we ended up working together weekly. I think you came weekly, is that right? To Scarlet
yes.
Sage and sat with me at my desk up in the little loft in the back.
Yeah,
And we
I
would just
remember
work
it.
together. It was
And we
amazing.
had that blackboard and we were writing the strategy on the blackboard.
Yep. And what the benefit of that for me at that time, especially because social media wasn't brand new, but it was in the growing phase, especially Instagram and Facebook was already existing, but Instagram was really in this like the online magazine, right? So we were able to gain, I think, 12,000 followers when we were
Yeah.
working together. And that was the time where people could really grow an audience as long as they were posting regularly. And so, what we ended up establishing was not necessarily as much social strategy, but the newsletter strategy and the sales
Yeah.
behind it and
Yeah.
all of the digital funnels that come behind it.
Mhm.
So you ended up building our website. We got it on Shopify, all of our newsletters. We built the funnel of any buttons on that newsletter going to the landing page we want it to go to, or the product, and then how we were really holding the whole customer life cycle. So the entire sales funnel. And you built that from the ground up with me. I learned so much from you working just side by side of saying, like, I remember weekly, you're like, we're getting a newsletter out this week. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And
Yeah.
in that hour, 2 hours, however long it took, we got the newsletter out that week. And so a big piece of the support that you gave was accountability because you were also working on something at the same time. I was the only one that could write the newsletter, or sometimes I didn't have to because it was just product, so we would check in about that, but we had a strategy and we had accountability and it worked. We ended up making great sales on those newsletters weekly and really supported that online presence that Scarlet
Yeah.
Sage really needed at that time.
Yeah.
And then transitioned to Land of Verse when Verse started and the school started. So you helped with event coordination when we started School of the Traditional Healing Arts in the basement of Scarlet Sage. You really helped build out that structure. How are we getting customers in person signed up for a class with the check-in system? I mean, this is in many ways, it's very analog. It's like, how do you create something that happens on paper in a digital format? And so
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is a lot of what you translate is how do we move into a digital life and track these customers, get them into one spreadsheet that you always have access to them, right? A CRM, a customer relationship management tool. So
Yeah.
how do you keep building this list that's so important while you're also maintaining simplicity for anyone
Yeah.
like employees working on a check-in system? And this is what you helped build, and you built it. And then you even helped some of the classes. You were there checking people in. It was just amazing to be able to work with you so much in person. And then when COVID happened and we moved everything online, just building up the inventory that we had online. You were there helping create that. And you were about to move back to France. You didn't know that
Yeah,
yet,
yeah,
but you
yeah, yeah,
were. And then we built Land of Verse online. And how do we build now an online school? And what teaching platforms do we use? Which ones are the best way? And you built through Teachable first, and then we transitioned to Thinkific, which was later after you left, I believe. And then you helped build kind of that relationship between the two brands, which was Scarlet
yeah,
Sage and Landiverse, now had a baby. And how do
yeah,
you talk separately and how do you connect the two through two different
yeah,
Shopify websites? So Shopify is the main websites that we used, and then all of the
hmm,
apps you helped build all of the disability apps on there, any fonts, any updates to changes, and then have watched that technology transition to what it is today. Now there's AI tools inside of it that build what
yep.
usually developers built and identified at that time. And then now, here we are, 2026, 9 years later, almost 10,
Yep.
working together. Landiverse is in stealth mode. We are in this, we're going to be launching pre-recorded, but you moved back to France. And then since then, and you've been doing a lot of consulting with other individuals. So a lot of my friends, I pass, they're like, who's your secret sauce? I'm like, Marie is my secret sauce. So I pass them on to you. You've built their site and their digital format and their sales funnels and their newsletters, and just like you've done with me. And I'm sure it's gotten easier and easier with the tools now available. And so you have a number of people now in your portfolio who are in the healing arts, who do
Yeah,
what we do, and you understand the market, Google ads, understand everything from Google ads to social media ads to Facebook ads, um, everything from how you're talking, what the sales funnels look like, how to build analytics, how to look at those analytics on Google, make sure things are working, Google
yeah,
AdWords, keywords, and now SEO, right? So
yeah,
search engine optimization, how to show up organically when someone says herbal medicine, etc., healing arts.
yeah, yeah.
So that has been your main consulting since Scarlet Sage. And now we're here in Holistic Business Folk, where you have already presented an SEO group last year, SEO class. And today, I don't know, did I miss anything major, Marie?
I think it's a perfect summary. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
wait, no,
been.
I did miss something important. So I've run retreats in France for the last 2 years.
Oh yeah, the retreat part.
And Marie has been so amazing in this process of building the retreat. So because you're native to France, but you're also from your family's from Cannes, but also
Yes.
you lived in Paris and Burgundy,
Yeah.
Burgundy is what? Brittany,
Well, Brittany. Yeah, Brittany.
Brittany. That when we went to create the retreat in France, you've been a huge asset of that. Brought one of your friends, Benjamin, down
Yeah.
as a chef, and that just the way you coordinate, the way you're able to create space and make things happen is just unbelievable. So thank you for supporting.
Thank
If any of
you.
you want to run retreats, find someone from that area, period. Just don't do it in any part of the world that you don't have someone as the core coordinator in that. Knows the language, knows the people, knows the space,
Yeah.
understands the culture intimately, deeply. So thank you. That is the last thing I didn't mention.
And what an amazing time we had together. It
So
was
much fun.
really, yeah, blessing time.
Beautiful, sacred, fun, interesting. Even showed you parts of France that you hadn't seen before, which was exciting.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Lavender fields that I had no clue existed in my own region. So thank you so much for helping me discover my own country
Oh,
differently.
c'est bon, merci, trop bien. So today, what I'm excited to do is one, hear a little bit about what you're doing now with businesses. I know you're working in hospitality. You're probably still working a little bit with individuals, but I'd love just to hear what you're doing now. And then I really want to go in what you're seeing today versus, I think a lot of people, especially young entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, are kind of still stuck in the I need to build the website. I need to do this. It's like almost like there's some non-negotiables that aren't as important as they used to be anymore. And so I want to understand what's happening today, what's happening now, how digital consumers are showing up, how people are being found. And I'm really just curious. You have your nose to the ground, your thumb on all of the prints of what's happening in the digital landscape. I want to see the changes. So I would love you to start just hear a little bit of what you're doing now with different consultant or as a consultant, and then jump
Yeah,
into what's
yeah,
happening.
and thanks again for this amazing summary. It's time flies, right? 10 years, incredible. But just a little word about what I'm doing today. So it's been 10 years right now that I'm consulting with different, most of them women entrepreneurs, small businesses. A lot of them are working in that holistic space, so herbalism, natural medicine. I'm fascinated with this word, and thanks to Laura, I had the chance to really deep dive into what is all these natural healing words. So it's been a blessing working with all those extraordinary women. And so I'm based in London right now, consulting with different kind of industries. So hospitality, I'm working part-time for a women association promoting equity for women and men in London. So it's interesting to work with different kind of industries, different sectors, big and small companies, startups, big hotel chains. So a lot of them have obviously different persona, different targets, different marketing strategy. And it's so fascinating to be able to help them and to really play with all the tools that we can have in digital marketing to make it work for everyone. And regarding your question about what I'm seeing right now as trends, just a few words about that. I still believe that websites are more than useful and should still be at the heart of your ecosystem. Yes, we do have social media, and yes, I do have some of my clients that are only working on Instagram. But that is not specifically what I would recommend for everyone. It really depends on, first, do you like social media? Because if you have your main business 100% on Instagram, then your core system is Instagram. So you need to spend basically a lot of time on Instagram. You need to play with organic social media, with paid social media. You need to understand the algorithm of social media. So it's okay for some people who are really into social media and really likes being on Instagram a lot. It's not okay for everyone else. The second thing that I'm still a bit so with social media only is that basically you rely on Instagram algorithm for your overall strategy, and we have all seen a lot of changes those past years on social media. Algorithm are changes, so sometimes video are trendy, and whenever you post a still picture, it's barely viewable by your community, and even worse, by someone external. So they are really promoting videos. They tend to look like TikTok a bit more since the last 2 years. So really short videos, TikTok like, really impactful with a hook at the beginning. And so all those strategies are evolving because Instagram is evolving and Meta is evolving. And again, if you rely 100% on Instagram because your store is an Instagram store, then you do have to respect their whole strategy, and it's not yours anymore. It's basically what our dearest Mark Zuckerberg is doing with Meta. So it's definitely interesting. Why not playing with Meta and Instagram as like a secondary option and open an Insta store to make it quicker and easier for people to browse your shop? I am 100% into it, but not building a website and be like, I am 100% on social media right now. It's fine. I'm still a bit hesitating about switching to that strategy.
That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. There's something also I was looking at the other day when I follow all these different types of marketers, and there's just as many opinions as there
Yeah.
is
Oh
marketers,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
But I think what's really accurate and what I've seen over and over again is that it's extremely important to know who your customer is. We go back to this all the time. But your generation of customer, I think that's a really important piece, because if I'm going to see a practitioner, I'm going to follow much longer form videos. I'm going to
Yeah.
sit and watch someone give me a lot more information than someone that's just like fun and interesting. And if we are like social porn, right? If we are only looking at likes and not at shares or not at saves, we're actually doing ourselves a disservice. So I try to not look at the likes, even though, of course, that is my dopamine. Like,
Yeah.
here's my candy. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But really, I'm looking and I'm training myself to look at shares and likes, or shares and saves, because that is actually what people do to hold it later or to send it off to someone. That's an important piece as a practitioner, as someone that looks for students and looks for clients. That's actually the thing that I find most valuable. But I am I am agreeing with you more and more about, I've heard a lot of people saying, you don't need a website, you can just do a landing
Yeah.
page. And there's just
Like,
sales pages for everything. And I think we're overwhelmed with sales pages of like the exact same thing, which is a really long page that has a million
yeah.
testimonials. And then this costs you $1,200, but I'm going to sell it to you for 27. And like, it's just now overdone so much. And I know it works for a lot of people, but I think if we're building long-term relationships with folks, and if we're looking at our long-term goal of, I want a school or I want a product that I can retire with, we are looking at better and deeper and more intimate relationships on these
Yeah.
platforms.
Definitely. And something else that is happening, as we all know, is AI. AI is playing a big piece right now in the marketing ecosystem. And what all those AI tools like is expertise, is being trusted as one of the major actor in the industry. And that is complicated to do if you only rely on one social media channel, because those tools really like to gather information from different platforms, and even platforms that we kind of forgot in 2026, but they are reading Wikipedia pages. They love your YouTube videos. And to get back to your point, they love longer videos because it shows that you are an expert in your field. You're not only creating shorts to create likes. They really see you as a trusted voice in your industry. So having a YouTube presence is even more important than what it used to be a few years ago. Having an SEO that is really showing that you are a trusted voice. So you have testimonials from your past clients, you have educational content, not that much promotional content everywhere on your website, but really educational content. You invite trusted guests within your industry that are sharing their opinions, and it's part of your content of your website. Everything you can give AI and show that, yes, you are an expert in your field, is making you much more visible in all those AI generated tools, close ChatGPT, you name them. But this requires what they call an ecosystem, and that trustful ecosystem of, yes, this person, I saw her on Insta, but I also saw her on YouTube, and there is a great website about us, and some other website are mentioning a website. So yeah, I can see that she's a trusted person. And whenever someone is asking a question on ChatGPT, then you will have higher chances to be featured as one of the main answers to people's question, which is at the end of the game what you need in order to be seen. So back to your point, yes, website and not only sales page do matter, because sales page are not really showing
Yeah.
you as that trusted voice in your industry. It's not meant for it. It's basically as you know, it's named sales page because it's meant to sell products. But
Yeah, I'm going to just define sales page for those that don't understand it in this space is that you have your website and then there's these additional pages that almost aren't connected to your website in some ways. It's like they're
they
the
can,
only,
okay, yeah, they don't have to.
they're often in like convert kits or some sort of like CRM tool, which is the customer relationship management tool, or the way that you convert people in a sales funnel. They have these extra sales pages that actually, I met someone at an entrepreneur event through Amazon. Actually, we did this 2-day women's event for in women in entrepreneurship, and she created an AI tool called Cold Start that will update your sales page based on whoever's watching it. So she's doing really well. But again, it's not these long-term relationships that you're looking at. You're looking at those quick sales, you know, the $27 for the download. You're not looking for someone to be your client someday in those $27 downloads. They're looking for selling $1,027 downloads a day, right? And that's their business model. So we're really looking at business models here. And I think stripping out what's not necessary so we don't get caught up with, and I do this too, and I have to watch myself. I should be doing that. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And then the overwhelm, right? The overwhelm of like, and now I can't do anything because now I don't know what to
Yeah,
do. And
yeah.
so, talking to our entrepreneurs here and our small business owners here, what do you think is the best place? Let's say website, 100% website done. Okay. What is the best next step for people if they're not looking at social media as their main source? Like you said, a lot of people here do not like social. What is the next thing that they can do that starts adding in this trusted voice that everyone uses AI? It's amazing how many people use it for relational questions, which this is where I'm like, that's my cringe with AI. I don't mind AI, to be honest. I'm like, it's happening, it's happened. People have been talking about machine learning for the last 30 years, and now it's AI. This has been building for a long time that I've been aware of. So I don't like that it's replacing our human relation. That's the piece that really bothers me. But people use it for this all the time. That's a side note. Where do you see people really that don't love social but need to get themselves out there being able to put something together that feels trusted and intentional?
I think I would definitely start by the content of the website
Okay.
itself. So
So copy and
optimizing the
content. Uh-huh.
content, meaning adding dedicated Q&A to your website. I'm not only talking about basic Q&A like do you deliver in the US, yes, no. It's really trying to create a targeted content for each of your product page if possible, or for each of your website page. So whenever you are selling any essential oil, you would really try to dedicate a few questions to that specific product. What are the healing benefits of it, and really speak about that specific product, because again, those AI tools, they are trained by our questions, and real people do ask questions. So whenever they will be typing like what is the healing property of lavender essential oil, if you have the exact same Q&A question on your website, then you're increasing your chances to be again mentioned as a potential answer to their question. So it's really keeping in mind that we are not doing SEO the way we used to a few years ago. It used to be adding keywords everywhere. And sometimes, it was not even readable by people. It was just trying to put as many keywords as we could because that was the way Google could read your pages. This is not working at all like this in 2026. It's really about trying to understand what your potential customer is looking for, is searching as the main information, and trying to give him the best answer possible so that he can discover your website, and not only discover your website, but spend some time on your website, get to know you, just, follow you on whatever social media you're in, subscribe to receive your newsletter if he's not buying on the very first visit, which is 99% of the case happening. So we need to start that relationship with your potential customer. So optimizing your content is still a big plus. Adding videos, if you have some, is great. Again, YouTube is really back into that ecosystem loop right now. So if you can, I know it's not for everyone again, but some people hate social media and feel more comfortable on YouTube because they do have time to invite a guest, to speak, to explain what's about their product. It's a really different format. So YouTube is great if you like it, if you're comfortable in front of a camera, or if you're comfortable having some guests talking to you and talking about just a few things that are related to your industry. But yeah, I would start with optimizing the website. And then you have a few options. I'm working a lot with paid advertising for different reasons. The first good thing with paid advertising, so you can pay some ads on Google or pay some ads on Meta, so Facebook and Instagram. And that's kind of a shortcut whenever you're still working on your SEO, your website is still not 100% ready, you don't have the time to create that blog and to create 10 to 15 blog articles that will rank on SEO or on the AI tools. You really need customers right now in order to start your business. So starting a few paid advertising is interesting at that specific moment because it's going to bring people to your website. So you're going to have a few numbers about how long they stay on your website, what are the pages they visited the most, what they were interested in your content. So it gives you a feedback of what do people like when they're on your website. That's number one. And number two is obviously because you bring more people to your website, in theory, and what I see a lot is that you're going to convert much more because many more people are visiting your website. So it does produces conversions right away or within a few weeks. And that is boosting your confidence as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. And so it's starting that loop of, oh yeah, I can see that when people are visiting my website, I am selling some of my items. So what can I do to make things better and to really create a qualified traffic to my site? So I'm still a big fan of paid advertising. And to get back to our point with AI, because those AI tools are made by Google for Gemini, or in any case, ChatGPT is also doing it, they are introducing paid advertising within their tools. So it's not live everywhere in the world now, and they're starting with a few tests here and there, but I believe 2027 is going to be that year when you will see some ads directly showing within your AI results, because that's the way they make money, and that makes sense. So right now it's 100% organic content, but they are switching to paid advertising much more, and that should be the trend that we will see in 2027. So happening in just a few months. So paid advertising will be really interesting in a few months.
We're going to see how people are okay with that with AI. Right now, I think they use it so much because it feels like it's not a typical advertising piece. So we'll see what the trend or the pushback or embrace how people embrace that transition of
Yeah.
AI, because people see it as like another person, which again is incorrect. It's incorrect.
Yep.
And that's the only part of AI, once again, that I'm just like, oh, yeah, good, good. So optimizing the website, looking at blogs, looking at information. If you have a YouTube channel, connecting it to your website, having a little, any Squarespace or Shopify website, you can always add a block that has the YouTube video right on there, even clips of it
Yeah.
if you want. So it's very easy to do that on a website if you have a YouTube channel. Substack. Tell me about Substack. Are you seeing that benefit people? Are you seeing it disjointed of people? So I'm going to talk about newsletters. So I have a Substack for holistic business folk, but I have a newsletter for Verse. So, and my newsletter for Verse goes through my Squarespace account because I used to use OmniSend and it got too expensive because I put it in stealth mode. So I use Squarespace newsletters, which actually doesn't get as many reads. So it's an interesting journey to watch. But that's okay right now because I'm not selling anything. So I'm just keeping it like my people informed. And then I use Substack for holistic business book. I don't have a newsletter connected to my CRM. So it has a
Yeah.
separate entity at all. Tell me if you have opinions or what you're seeing and the difference between a newsletter connected to your website, which is your CRM. Again, customer relationship management. It keeps all of those customers in one ecosystem versus Substack. It's like you might not, these people might not be your customers. They might just read it and they're interested and the conversion might be lower, but you get a lot wider audience. I'm
Yeah.
curious how you're seeing those two differ in the world.
Yeah, so it's funny because Substack is not yet in Europe. So I don't know if it's a not yet
Oh,
or if it will never happen, but I don't have any of my clients use Substack. It's like really a US thing, but definitely Substack or even LinkedIn. LinkedIn has a newsletter capacity and it's working the same way. It's I mean it's two different kind of strategies and it really depends on what you want to do, how big is your audience, how granular you want to be talking to your audience. I really like CRM, active campaign, Brevo, MailChimp, you name them. There are tons of tools that can be free, cheap, or a bit more expensive depending on the tool that you'd like to select. But those tools can really tailor the communication that you're going to send to your audience, segment the message that you're going to send. So a lot of my clients do have customers. So those people already purchased for them. They know the product, they know the company. They don't have to be reminded all the time every week that this company is doing this and that is their bestseller product. They do know you, they like you, they just want to get potentially a new offer, knowing about what's going on with you, what's your news, what's happening with you, and just keeping the relationship alive with your customers. And then they may have some prospects that were interesting, were reading the blog, were asking to receive the newsletter. They never order anything from you. So those people may be interested to receive another type of content. So maybe seeing some testimonials of people that really trust your brand, trust your product, re-explaining who you are, what your values are, what you're doing. So this is a different communication. And it depends again on the size of your business, of your company, and if you have time or not to create different content, because obviously this takes much time, right? But ideally, I'm a big fan of segmenting your communication. And it's basically that thing that we say in marketing, speaking to the right person at the right time with the right content, instead of just sending a newsletter to everyone without understanding who is who in the customer journey. Yes, obviously people may like it, may read it, but having a dedicated communication to everyone is generally what works best. So and this is where CRM is really useful, because you're going to grab the emails from your customers, but you're also going to track everything they do. So when they order something on your website, there will be a little tag like, oh, Laura just purchased something from your website. She's now a customer. And then if Laura is referring a friend, she will have another tag like, oh, Laura is a really great customer because she referred you to a friend. And you can track the full member journey or the full customer journey, and really again send the best communication to all of those people.
yes. I haven't segmented my customers since we shut down Scarlet Sage because Scarlet Sage, we had two major different customers. Well, we had three actually. We had our spiritual customers that we knew always, but the spiritual tools were always going to the spiritual classes. And then we had our herbal customers that were really interested in the health and well-being and physical body. And then we had our events people that just went to events and only did,
Yeah.
they were a smaller segment, but only really did the classes and events. And then we had our broader audience. So we were able to target it. And then we went even farther. If someone came to a particular event, let's say an astrology event, and we had a new astrologer coming, we would only talk to those astrology people and say, look, there's another astrologer. And we got some
Yeah.
really great conversions from these, maybe 12 people that came to that class before. We sent a separate email to them and said, hey, there's a new astrology class. And sometimes 3 or 4 of those people would sign up right away. And it was just a great way to have that relational piece with people. So the segmenting, especially the bigger you get, I mean, we have 14,000 people on our newsletter list. So we have a lot at this point. We used to have more and we cleaned it up and then people started unsubscribing, which was fine. Because I'm like, if you're unsubscribing, like you clearly don't want my content. But it's a good way to really keep building that intimate relationship. If you're starting from scratch, which is why I did Holistic Business Folk on Substack, it's a good option to see and test your content if you don't have anyone to send it to. And that's why I chose to start Substack, because it's essentially a social newsletter. So it's sent out to people, anyone can see it. It's public. It's not sent only to the email subscribers, but you can send it to people to subscribe. You can have a place on your website to subscribe to your Substack. And then it does get new voices and new audiences.
Yeah.
And if someone likes it or shares it, it goes out into the Substack verse. So I like it for that reason. And one of the things that one of the entrepreneurs I follow, she actually starts testing because she does online courses. She tests her content on Substack first as a
Yeah.
paid option. She's like, this is what this is. This is, let's say, 5 steps to having a healthy liver. Let's pretend that's what it is. And then she gives a summary of it, and then you have to subscribe for paid to get her full description of these 5 steps for a healthy liver. And she says if that works on Substack, she'll do a course for it and sell this course. And I thought that was a brilliant testing model for very low stakes for you putting it on Substack. Substack doesn't cost you anything, but you're
Yeah. Yeah.
seeing if people convert into a paid, and if people want this, and then you can put a course together. So Substack's a great testing
Yeah.
avenue for paid versions. And it could be even paid if you're looking at, it's really content focused. So it's not good for events. It's not good for retreats. It's not good for client work necessarily. It's primarily for content based
Mm.
companies or courses, or
Yeah.
once again, some people make good money on Substack because they have such extreme value. And that paywall is getting people the thing that they really want, which is the goods. But you got to give them
Yeah.
enough to want the goods.
Yeah.
Rebecca Altman was on here many moons ago, and she uses Substack for one of her revenue models. And it gives you access to her. She does spiritual readings for anyone here who's remembering when she was here. She does like energy spiritual readings, but was an herbalist as well. And her paid version is you get early access to her stuff, or you get primary pieces for a reading that she does for people with their guides. So she gives you a lot of content before that paid version. And then she's like, and if you want to know that thing that I was just telling you about for like 5 paragraphs, pay $5,
Yep.
right? It's an option. Not everyone wants that option, but it is a strategy that I think for those that are here that are interested in not working with social media, but are looking for testing good content, I think Substack is still a valuable asset.
Yeah. 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 It's interesting. LinkedIn is kind of doing the same. I've been working with
I don't
many
know, Lyndon. Is
B2B
that in Europe?
clients. Yeah. LinkedIn?
Lyndon,
LinkedIn, like the B2B platform?
you're talking about LinkedIn.
Yeah. Also,
LinkedIn.
remind your accent. LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Okay, good. Yes.
LinkedIn.
Yeah. Oh, I know LinkedIn
That
well.
they're
Okay.
doing the same. They have this newsletter
Okay.
tool, and it's
Right.
the exact same thing. It's mostly for B2B though, but
Yeah.
that's working the exact same way. You can share information with your community. You can share your newsletter with your LinkedIn followers, but also externally. And then if they want to learn more about work opportunities or whatever, then they will have to pay to
Right.
read the rest. So it's interesting because those tools are kind of an hybrid situation, kind of in between social media and newsletter. They're not really what I would consider as a CRM or emailing tools. They are that hybrid solution. That could be definitely interesting, depending on your goals.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking for anyone here that would want to be a consultant, for example, let's say a formulator for a company, or want to help people work through as a brain trust person who's
Yeah,
here to help with learning about the natural products industry or health and well-being through an herbalist perspective. If that's your idea of a business, and if that's the type of persona you are in a business, I could see LinkedIn working really well. I use LinkedIn primarily for promoting my work through BPRA. So, as the director of operations for Beneficial Plant Research Association, I'm promoting research, right? Integrative
yeah,
medicine and research, and these ethnobotanists and MDs that do this type of work. And so I'm using LinkedIn as that piece of my career. And again, I have
yeah,
many pieces of my career at this point that I'm working on all at the same time. And so creating that like avenue of what LinkedIn works for you. So if you are
yeah,
looking at making more career relationships, or
yeah,
you want to get hired by Herb Farm or a large company, be present there. And I think this is where you can share an opinion. You can say, I think the herbal industry is going to shit, whatever it is, but don't say that on LinkedIn because it's very PG. I think the herbal industry needs an update based on this and this and that, and it's now too corporate, and we need, share opinions there because people listen and they really care about industry conversations.
yeah. Yeah, and I do have yoga teacher clients or natural medicine clients that are also going to companies to help
That's right.
employees feeling better directly at your workspace. And this is really interesting to get in touch with potential companies that
It's a
could
good
have a
idea.
small budget for the well-being of their staff, and most of them do so right now. I mean, it's really a big topic within HR departments right now. So
Yeah.
they want to be visible from HR departments, and they want to show what they do so that the company can definitely discover their services and contact them. And a lot of people are actually doing so in the well-being industry, at least in France. I don't know if it's that's popular in the US, but in France it's getting to something because yeah, HR department have a small budget for the well-being
Yeah.
of their staff, which is great. Um,
Yes, and I've worked with a number of companies through for well-being and mostly education. So as an herbalist, I'm not treating people. I could see yoga being a good one to get into a corporate wellness program,
yeah,
or nutrition being in corporate
nutrition
wellness.
is a big one,
The big
definitely.
one. But I've taught classes. I've taught how to make teas or
Yeah,
experiences and these. So
yeah,
if that is something you're interested in, and you can get paid really, really well. I got
yeah.
paid $550 an hour
Oh
for
yeah,
some of these things.
yeah,
So if that's the direction that any of you want to go, I love that idea of working with LinkedIn and talk about how to support your employees, how to support your team in well-being. These are the things that I would do, or whatever. Having an opinion about workplace wellness will be a good
yeah,
place to do that on LinkedIn. That's a
yeah,
really good idea.
yeah. Even practitioner dealing with everything related to menopause. It's a huge topic in France and in the UK right now. And I can see a lot of companies having some people directly going to your workspace and explaining what's going on with your menopause, and helping women facing the symptoms on menopause at work, which is amazing. And gym teacher going to workspace to train 50 years old women to feel better transitioning to that menopause space. So there's a lot to think about here depending on what everyone offers. But yes, definitely B2B can be an interesting. word to discover.
I love that. Thank you. You're giving me many ideas now to suggest to. I was just teaching a business class at the California School of Herbal Studies yesterday. And this is a question a lot of young herbalists are asking themselves is what are my options? Because the world is vast and there's infinite options. It feels like too many in many ways, which is a great problem to have, but it can feel overwhelming. And also, herbalism is still a small niche within the world of health and alternative health, even. So, I like this workplace wellness piece, and the confidence that you need to get into those spaces is really the challenge here. And I think confidence is the challenge. I talk a lot about it in this space for anything, is how do you have enough confidence to put that website together, to
Yeah.
speak about yourself in a way that's really positive while still staying within your scope of practice and training. And how do you say, I can offer you this confidently? And I see my clients getting these results confidently. It takes time often. This is
Yeah.
where time and practice and being in the work, which is why I recommend just start seeing clients, even if you're not charging anything yet, just to keep getting the confidence that these things work and your people get better and you can see the herbs working, or teach classes for sliding scale just to get out there and start teaching and get that feedback from students. This is where in-person experiences truly do not replace virtual experiences, because we're so alone in virtual experiences often. Unless we're having a live class, we're not getting the feedback. The confidence is a lot harder to gain. It takes longer, in my experience. But if you're in front of people, getting real dialogue in real time, there is that sense of knowing that, yes, I have something unique. Yes, people get a lot out of it. Yes, I am doing the work I'm supposed to do that I love. And so my encouragement is to be really focused on in-person experiences at the early stages and then move into more digital experience later as you're building up that ability to have that hybrid type of company or personality or type of works experience.
Yeah.
Good. I'm curious what you're seeing in the UK and in France of the trend of herbal medicine right now, because I know what I'm seeing in the United States and it's baffling in some ways, but I'm curious what you're seeing because I know it's a little different in the UK and in France than it is in the States.
It's funny because it's all about menopause and perimenopause right now. This is crazy. Like you cannot walk anywhere in London without seeing all the, it's not really herbal store. It's kind of like it's less than Scarlet Sage, but let's say like
Supplement.
natural
Yeah,
organic store that would sell brands that you used to sell at Scarlet Sage. So it's not as hardcore herbalist as Scarlet Sage used to be. It was, amazing with like herbs that you could pick and specialists. But still, those would be like organic natural store. And this is everywhere. Like perimenopause, menopause is really everywhere. And it's about either accompanying women if they start HRT and making them feel better with HRT, or
yeah,
for those who don't want HRT, how can they still feel better navigating those 15-ish years? Because if you think about the full journey, it's like somewhere like 15 years. So it's a massive amount of people that are concerned with this topic, and it's really huge. um Collagen is huge, protein is huge. What else? Sleeping is huge as well.
yeah,
Stress management is obviously huge, like it is everywhere, and when we hear the news and what's happening in our countries, we know why, right?
yeah.
But those are the massive big trends right now.
Hmm. I mean, we're seeing that all over here. It's the amount, I mean, with BPRA, with Beneficial Plant Research Association, we have a Plants for Women's Health project that is looking at additional research for alternatives to HRT at this point. And because so many people, when I work with my cancer clients, cannot use HRT even if they want to, right? Their doctor's like, nope, even if the black box warnings were taking off estrogen, primarily estradiol, for people to use it safely. It's because it's at a significantly lower dose than what they recommended 20 years ago. But people that have any hormone related cancers, they cannot take HRT or are on estrogen blockers specifically for breast cancer. So there's a lot of concern still of like how safe is it for certain people at certain risks. And I've seen folks have estrogen dominance, but were never, didn't have cancer, but has estrogen dominance, go through perimenopause, in perimenopause, and their doctor still recommended an estrogen patch. They went on it and their estrogen spiked like crazy. And I'm like, I think that there's a lot that's also misused still. So I think alternatives, plants, botanicals are still actually the most appropriate way to move forward if you can with these, and yet the research is still very limited,
Yeah.
sadly, on actual alternatives and dosages of the plants, even though I have a list that I love and I use regularly. Um, I think women's health is for sure a focus, but what I've seen in herbalism here is a real focus on not just women's health in general, but a specific stage, like you were talking about menopause or fertility or post-menopause is also one because we're working with osteoporosis, we're working with cardiovascular disease, we're working at the longer risks of age-related menopause as well for post-menopause. So it's I like these stage specific women's health focus, and I think women are more open to herbalism in general. So that stage is really important. Um, and there's still a lot more need to being educated, everyone being educated about what their body is doing at that stage. I mean, I'm in perimenopause for sure. I'll be 46 this year. And I know I'm in perimenopause. I know it. It's like my period has changed everything. And I've had to adjust the way I eat, the way I
Yeah.
exercise, what supplements I take or don't take. And I'm extremely well informed and I'm still on the journey of figuring it out. So I agree with you that that's a great opportunity for folks to jump in. But what I've seen is this openness to herbalism in ways that I thought it would happen much earlier because I thought herbs were hip and sexy when I was in herb school 20 years ago. So I was like, why isn't this such a thing? And now I see it's a thing. So I'm like, yes, it's good. And I think the trusted sources are herbalists. And so I want to always give people confidence that they don't have. So I'm like, you have something that only 1% of the population has, which is a training in herbs that are in supplements. And you can talk about supplements through herbs. You can talk about how to help your body, how to live connected with the plants around you. There's so much we have available. And yet I think people get stuck in their smallness around like, I don't have anything really important. People don't really care. They really do care. It's a matter of how you present it. But now is the time. And I think with AI,
Great. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I think with AI, herbalism is going to get even more important because it's relational. It's of the earth, it's physical, it's product, it's person to person experiences.
yeah,
Our
yeah.
jobs aren't going anywhere with AI, but
Yeah, and it's exactly what you mentioned. I mean, it's everything but a one size fits all, and you're really working with the patient to understand what's her level of hormones, what's her, her whole body, what's going on, and so HRT is becoming much more popular, but still, even with people who don't have cancer, a lot of them are still in fear because of that one size fits all solution that is proposed right now, and that may not suit you. So
that's right. That's right. Okay, we went a little bit off topic, but that's I love this topic in general, so I could talk about it all day long. We're going to ask a few more questions, and then if anyone in the group wants to, I know we just have two students here today, but if you have any questions, I would love to hear from you what you would hope people would do from the beginning that you feel like is a home run for anyone building a brand from the ground up.
I think just taking time to question who is your main customer. So we call it a persona in marketing, but who are you talking to? What would you like to communicate to them? And just spend some time doing marketing instead of digital marketing. Because if you have a clear picture of where you want to go and who is your main customer and what's your offer to the world, then tech is only a tool for you to go there. And I see a lot of my clients who are ready to launch the website. So they pick a platform, they grab their domain name, do a bunch of tech things, and then in the middle of the process or in the middle of the project, after a few pages being built, they're like, wait a minute, I am pivoting to something really different because I don't feel like it's me anymore. And when I do see it on a website, I am scared that I missed something. This is not what I want to communicate to the world. So instead of like starting a few things and then readjusting and pivoting and do all that back and forth, which may cost you a lot of money, because if you work with some specialist, that is going to be a certain budget. So it's really important to just work on your strategy, like the very core marketing question, marketing 101 as we used to learn it at uni, but still it's so important at the beginning of the project, because again, tech is a tool and there are multiple ways to make it seen online, but knowing who you are and what you want to communicate to the world and what you want to sell and offer is the most important by far.
You're going back to all the things I tell everyone all the time, like know your customer. But I think to ground that into even a harder reality is know yourself.
Yeah.
That is not an easy journey in general, right? Not everyone is made to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone is made to put their dream of what they want to offer in the world out as an individual, as a single person. And that inner work, spiritual work, emotional work, to go say, like, what do I really want to serve my people? What is it that I really want to see in the world? And how do I want to communicate that? That's the thing that I think takes the most time, because you can find
Oh,
your customer. I have many different versions of a similar customer that I can pull out at any day. Even like two people, I do this modern dance for older dancers, adult older and returning dancers. I'm one of the youngest ones there. I love it.
yeah.
Weekly, and I work with, I go to this class weekly, at least a couple times a week, and I love it. They're always the same dancers there, and we get to know each other. And two of them came to my tea class at Berkeley Herbal Center, and they're like, I know you. I'm like, I know you. And they're in their 50s, and they are my perfect customers. They are professionals, they're women, they take care of themselves, they love to dance, they love herbal medicine, but they're not going to ever take a full course. So they want to take little courses here and there for their own well-being, and they're really excited about any recommendations that I have. And then there's certain people that will be my students someday. So I have like these interesting multiple customers. But the hardest part of that journey is I either serve them where they're at, or I get really focused and they join me where I'm at, right? Those are the two options. I could just be like, oh, I'll do this for you. I'll do this for you. I'll do this for you. Or what is it that really important that I'm out in the world and they come to me? And that takes more risk and more confidence. And yes, I can adjust based on the trends or what's needed based on the Substack, like what people will pay for. But unless I know what I'm willing to do in the first place, I can't go out and give options, because it might, like you said, feel disjointed or feel inauthentic, or I just don't want to do it anymore because it's not actually the direction that I'm going. And yes, people pivot all the time. You can pivot. I've pivoted many, many times in my life. But the harder part is the first step is who are you? And why do you exist? And why do you want to keep this in the world? And why do you want to help people? And then who is that customer? And how does that serve the purpose that you're in? And again, that could that's taken me a long time to come to.
That's huge. And remember, we did that for Verse, and a lot of my clients are trying to find an answer to that question. But you're supposed to have a why question and answer on your homepage of the site, because that's what people are gonna read first. Why you? Why would they pick you among all those healthcare practitioners? And it's a competitive field right now. So why you, and why are you doing what you're doing? And if you know it and if you feel it, then it's gonna feel authentic on your website. But that's the kind of question that are so tough, and so yeah, that's a long-term project and that requires a lot of time. 100% agree with you.
And that's the part that I think can get deeper, right? If you have a product, like we call it Land of Verse because it was the land of people connecting with their ancestry and it passed down through verse. I've had people tell me you should change your name. And I'm like,
Yeah.
nope. And that might be my problem, right? That's a me problem. But what it does is I wanted to build it as a long-term entity that is unique in the world of herbalism, that doesn't follow suit in the same. I transitioned from School of Traditional Healing Arts into Land of Verse because that was the why behind what I've done. I don't see it as a problem because that is authentically who I am and what I'm putting out in the world. And it is my why. But that takes confidence just to do that, right? And so, what I'm encouraging people to do is do everything but be generic. You can't, if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. Talk to the people that will care what you care about. And everything from organic, homegrown. I love the small growers. I love the small product makers. I remember when I had this tiny little hole in the wall in the Mission District of San Francisco, my friend let me use to see my very first clients after I graduated herb school. And it was literally like a storage space underneath an apartment building. And it was like a hobbit hole and it's tiny. It's smaller than my little office here. Like I had a little shelf for my apothecary, my desk, and then two chairs. That was it. And like you had to like move a chair to close the door to get in, and it was tiny. My clients loved it. They loved it because it was something they would never get anywhere else in the world. And they saw me put their products together for them, my little tinctures that I would, and I will never forget that. When I moved into a bigger space, a more beautiful space, people were like, "Oh, I miss your other." I'm like, "You do?" That was a piece of shit, that little hole in the wall. But it's because it's real, because
Yeah.
I was a new practitioner. I was in a small space. It was handmade. Everything was, and that, and Dr. Estes says this all the time. Everyone knows I talk about Clarissa Estes all the time. Like the story that she writes about the red shoes, right? Everyone knows the red shoes, the Hans Christian Andersen story of the girl who wanted the fancy red shoes and she ended up getting them, but it was this parable of greed and she couldn't take them off and she danced for an entire life. The original book is that she danced with these red shoes for so long she could never take them off and her body wouldn't stop dancing that she had to get an axeman to cut off her feet. But she
Ooh.
traded these fancy red shoes for her handmade shoes that she made by hand when she was very poor. And she put them on and she was so proud of them. She loved them so much. But then she saw these really fancy ones at a store that she thought she would be liked more if she had, right? And it's this idea of what are we trading of these handmade experiences that we created for ourselves that we should be very proud of, trading for what we assume the world is going to like better. I've had to learn this lesson over and over and over and over and over again. But I think about this story often when I think about creating a business that's successful. And the entrepreneurs I really look up to are the ones who are just very grounded in their lives and their simplicity. And it feels special. It feels unique. It feels intentional. And it doesn't have to be big and it doesn't have to be fancy, but it's grounded in authenticity.
Yeah, 100%.
And then you know your customer after that point. Good luck on your journey, everyone. I would love to open it up. As you all know, I could talk all day long. I would love to open it up to Monique or India to see if there's any questions from Marie. I know, India, you're probably in the middle of parenting. So, okay.
We've been there
Yes, I know. You and I have
and
been.
are still there. So
Yes, 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 yes. Oh, you are, and you're sick. Oh, India, feel better. I'm so sorry. Thanks for joining us while you're in bed and
thank
parenting. I'm sure
you.
kids are climbing all over you. Okay. Yeah, take care. Monique, do you have any questions for Marie?
Questions. No. I've been taking heaps of notes, and I think this is definitely something I will be coming back to a few times to rewatch. But yeah, I'm still in the phase of like I don't have a website and things yet, so it's all good information for when I do get to that point of building out a website, of what's important to put in there and to focus on first. So it's been really helpful.
Good, good,
Thank you
good,
so
good.
much, Monique.
Monique's an amazing writer, by the way, so I'm excited to see your website, Monique. I keep saying that, I know. But I'm curious, Marie, if you were to imagine a perfect website that gets a lot of traffic and really built out, give me every page. And this includes, okay, so we're going to pretend we know this person. This includes product and services. So they have a clinical practice. They do sell a couple products, not a ton, just a few. And maybe they're seasonal, or maybe they're just for their clients that they see primarily, and they can refill different, 5 or 10 products on there. But they are a clinical practitioner, meaning clinical herbalist. They have a few products, and then they do some classes on the side. What is a perfect website that gets a lot of organic traction on it?
Yeah, obviously take some time to build an efficient homepage. And what I mean by that is trying to show a piece of what you're doing on the homepage. So you will have your main menu. Obviously, everyone can reach out and check in what's going on in your menu, but not everyone is comfortable with menus. And I'm surprised every time I'm watching recording of people navigation, some of them are not going up and checking the menu. So if you have some clear sections on your homepage showing the classes that you're offering, your collection of products. So even if it's not showing all your products because it's going to be too much, but maybe your best sellers or a few collections would be great. And then a section about who you are, and then a few Q&A. But just playing with the homepage, trying to show your offering in a different way than the menu, because that's an issue I keep seeing on website. People are just adding a few information here and there, or like a huge picture or a huge video, and it's basically the full homepage. And then there is a menu, and they're like, oh, people will find out what I do in my menu. Yes and no. Some will never do. Um, Try to have the main information upper on your homepage, because whenever we're seeing numbers about people scrolling web pages, we're basically losing half of the people right after the site folds. So whenever they start scrolling, you will lose half of them. So just trying to show what's more important at the top of your page is always a good advice. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to show everything on my header, because it's going to be not easy to read, obviously, but
Maybe your
making
current
sure.
class or the most popular, whatever you
Yeah,
want to prioritize for people to look at first. You put that
yeah,
towards the top. Yeah. Okay,
yeah, exactly. And even, on the at the very top of your website, if you can just specify if you are in person or online, if you are in person, please mention your location directly at the top of the page. Some of my clients say that they are seeing clients in person, and then we need to click and visit 3 pages to understand that they're based in New York. And that's a big no-go for someone in California, obviously. And this is like a small details, but try to communicate what's really fundamental, like even before your rates or the specificity of your classes. If you're based on the East Coast and you're doing in-person classes, then people do need to know it when they see your homepage, even before starting scrolling or do whatever. So trying to be super clear and super sharp using the top of the website is a big plus. And if you zoom out a bit, I would say dedicating 1 page per service is always a good idea, just because if you run some advertising, we need a destination page for all your ads. And if you want to run an ad only for the specific course you're giving about menopause, if you're bringing everyone to a page of yours that will be a bunch of everything about all your classes, and you're promoting the menopause class, people will have again to spend time searching for the information, and you may lose them just because people are not patient, don't have time, and do not read, basically, unfortunately. So be specific and try to dedicate 1 page per service or 1 page per product, so that it's going to help with your potential advertising. It's going to help with social media, because you can post something about that specific menopause class that is going to happen soon and link it on your link tree on Instagram or link it on Facebook directly. But you're really helping them discovering your content and not assuming that they will spend time trying to investigate what's going on your website. And it's, again, something we have to keep in mind is, how can I make the customer journey as easy as possible in a world when no one has time to read and everyone is reading website using a Wi-Fi in the tube or in a car, it's that kind of life events. And so making their customer journey easy is really payful. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's really helpful. I took notes on home pages because I need to update a few of mine. So thank you. Thank you so much. It's so helpful. You're absolutely right. No matter what I put out there, people are always like, is this virtual? Is this in person? I'm like, it says virtual all over it, but like I think explicit, even a banner at the very top, because Squarespace
Yeah.
and Shopify have this. You could even do an announcement banner, like
Yeah.
virtual, like on Zoom, something that's really specific, or like you said, like seeing clients in Ithaca, New York, or whatever that is, in person. So really explicitly putting that at the beginning, because you do want people to jump off if they can't do it, or if they are, everyone assumes everything is virtual, or they just get confused. So I think that's a huge piece of it. That's great. India has a question she put in the chat. She said she's launching a new workshop in September. Usually use Facebook and Instagram to promote. I'm currently working on my newsletter and website. So that means the website doesn't exist, India. Do you mind sharing a little bit more? It says you're currently working on it. So if it doesn't exist, let's just assume it doesn't exist for this. It doesn't exist yet. Okay. What could I do to get better traction so I have sold out workshops? Okay, I guess I have more questions for you, India, but I will have you jump in, Marie.
I guess my main question for you, India, is, do you have any kind of destination page where you're bringing people whenever you're promoting the class on Facebook? Because okay, so that would be, before launching the ad, I will make sure that there is a page, an Insta shop, like anything that you were envisioning to really sell the class. Because if you're posting about something, we need a call to action at the end of each communication, and it's especially true for advertising. Each advertising should have a call to action: learn more, buy now, join my class, whatever you think as a call to action. But it's the exact same thing as when we speak to people. We need a call to action at the end of the speech, like, what do you need them to do? and you need them to purchase your class. Oh, so Eventbrite. Okay, good. So
Oh,
at least you
Eventbrite's
can
great.
bring them. Yeah,
Yep,
Eventbrite is great.
yep.
It's one of the destination page. If you have an Eventbrite that is set up, that is clear, that's perfect. You're ready to go. And you can boost a post on Facebook if you don't want to launch the whole meta ad thing that Laura and I did, and God only knows that meta is tricky, but boosting a post can be an efficient way to be visible, or launching a long-term campaign is also an option. It
I'll add a
just
little bit about events because I do a lot of them. I used to do a lot more than I do now, but I continue to do some. Is that people sign up significantly later than ever. And that stayed pretty consistent the last 2 years. They used to sign up a month before, and now I know people that don't even promote the event for 2 weeks before because they're like, people need it fresh. They need to know it's going away soon, and they do a major campaign for 2 weeks. So what I would say on the marketing cadence here is that first of all, whoever your consumer is or your student that you want to promote this class for, this event, workshop for, if it's an herbal class, make sure there's herbs behind you. I mean, I'm talking more marketing like visuals, like really get people to hang out with you for a minute because when you do a workshop or a class or clients, you have to be seen as the trusted source. It has to feel elevated. It has to feel very polished, not too polished, but polished enough. So be in a beautiful space, be in a clothes that you would wear for the class, be in a space that you feel like people are like, oh, I want to take a workshop from this person. If it's professional, be in a professional setting, be in a near a desk, whatever that is for you. Don't like sounds, like all of these things are really important for how people perceive you because these are subconscious decisions they're making in a split of a second. They're subconscious that they're going to either scroll past or stay with you. They're going to stay with you if you look like the teacher they want. You are now the teacher. You are the matriarch. You are the holder of space. Be that, look that, feel that, create the time and space for that. And I'm speaking from a lot of experience on social and why some people are like, it doesn't work. I'm like, your lens was fuzzy. It was dirty. Like these are very physical things where like clean your lens before you take in a video so it doesn't look fuzzy, right? These are really, really important because your brand is you. India, you are a beautiful woman that has a lot to offer in the world. I can't wait to see what you do because I know like this art post-birth cesarean group that you're probably doing is so needed. Creating that sacred space that you know that people need for yourself before you get on that video is going to be really important. The second thing, I can't reiterate that enough too, especially because we're all so busy and it's easy to forget that that's actually probably the most important thing first. Second is promote almost every other day. Like the cadence of you sharing this in the world that exists, people forget all the time, like a little bit about this thing, why it's different, why it's everything's going to be a very similar message, but a little bit different. And that could be a static post, which means a copy, like just copy of like, what does a cesarean group look like? And having just like copy there every other day within 2 weeks. Yeah, that's exactly right. You could do it from now until then if you really want it to fill up, because then people start planning it, especially with kids. They have to plan it for longer periods of time. But it's shocking how well Herbal Academy, how overdone their marketing is. And they have 80,000 people that show up to their, I mean, the amount of marketing I was supposed to do just as one of their teachers of the whatever 100 teacher, 50 teachers that they had was wild. But it works. They are a marketing machine. So you as an individual, we can't be those marketing machines ourselves when we have real lives, but like consistent every other day showing up, whether it's a static post or you saying something or reminding people, hey, remind you, are you one of those people that feels the need to have this community? Or, hey, a static post that's like a stat about somebody. I found that with events that I do, you're going to feel like crickets until the week before, and then people are going to start actually signing up a lot. So that's really consistent. So don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. Don't cancel it yet. You'll know 3 days before if you need to cancel it, if only like one person shows up. Like you'll know 3 days before solid if you're halfway full, and then people will start filling up 2 or 3 days right before. I have last minute signups all the time, the day of, because it's like today, last time. People are like, oh, urgency, got to do it, got to do it, got to do it. Or I'm going to buy this from my friend that really needs it. So events are, you just have to do them more and more to start seeing this. But friends that I know that do events full time, they do it for brands, they do it for themselves. This is extremely common. So don't feel challenged, but just make sure you are talking to the right people you're getting to. So be really clear what it is. If you're a woman who had a cesarean a Black woman with a cesarean in this community, I can't wait to talk to you. That is the clearance that I want you to think about before you share anything else, and just keep it going. We believe in you, India. I don't know, Marie, if you want to add anything more to that, but that has
No,
definitely been.
100%. I would just add that videos are always great on social media. So if you feel like it, India, I know it's not for everyone, but if you feel like sharing a few sentences of what the class is all about, and talking in a natural way, it doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be a super high quality videos. It can be recorded from your cell phone, obviously with a nice light and the sound, sufficient sound. But a video is always a first meeting with you, kind of, and it's really to feel the vibe of the teacher. So it's always really helpful, and it's one of the format that is still really much appreciated by algorithm anyway. So you may be extra visible if you use video compared to still, but what Laura was mentioning is perfectly right. It can be one day a still picture, the other day any kind of Q&A about the class, and then the third post could be a little bit about you and seeing you talk about the class. So mixing the formats is really a good idea here.
Thank you for asking such an important question, India. I love this group. It's all about brass tacks, because I don't want things to feel overwhelming if it's something that's just logistical. And the logistics, the brass tacks of something often stop people from getting the thing that they want, which is this class to fill up. The Eventbrite would be great. The other thing I want to add to the Eventbrite, Marie, you brought this up. I think this is brilliant. I need to do this, is the question and answer. So go through the Eventbrite, explain it, over explain the class for sure. Maybe summarize it the first sentence and then explain it deeply. And then say, what would a typical person ask you about this class? Does this include all of the services? Does this include art supplies? Am I going to be able to have a bathroom? Is this ADA compliant? I swear to God, it stops people from pausing and then having to email you questions if they had those questions in the first place. So ask those questions like someone who, do you have childcare? Can I bring my kid? Is this a sacred space? I hold confidentiality. There's all of these questions that, sorry if you can hear my dogs, I apologize. But these are the questions I would start thinking about. And then anything about the content, like, is this an ongoing series? Are you going to offer this again? Just in case I can't come to the first one. Any of those Q&As that you can ask yourself, one, people are going to read them that are really serious about your class. But two, it creates your persona of being a very thoughtful teacher. And it looks like you've done this before. You've done this for a long time, India. So anything that comes up that you think a student might ask, already present it in this Eventbrite. So make sure it's really clear. We did that a lot at Scarlet Sage, right, Marie? We talked a lot about ADA compliance.
Oh
We
yeah,
talked
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot
Yeah.
about, is this, how to park, where to get there. We made sure to have
Yeah.
all the parking maps together just to reduce that pause, or reduce that communication that's needed between the decision of buying that ticket or not. Refund policy, if I can't make it, and you can say,
Yeah.
you'll get a credit for the next one. Don't ever refund people. I want to give you a future credit for the next class if you can't come to this, or you can give it to a friend. These are things that are really, really important, because trust me, last minute cancellations will happen, and you just have to communicate ahead of time what a last minute cancellation looks like for you, whatever that decision is for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else on the description, Marie, that you would want to add? Of course, you're welcome, India. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think we spoke about, yeah, a lot of things. Any other question? I'd
Yeah.
love to help.
Anybody have any more questions before we end today with Marie? I know it's almost 7 o'clock your time, Marie, right? Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
The sun is
You got the
really,
evening sun on you. I got
yeah,
the
yeah,
morning sun
exactly.
on
I'm
me.
trying to change the position of my computer, but
Well, I think that was a lot for today. Marie, you are brilliant and so wonderful to work with. I recommend you to everyone. Are you seeing individual clients at this point? If anyone wants to work with you individually?
yes, I am. I have limited time, but I'm always, yeah, I'm
Okay.
always happy to help and
So if
always.
anyone wants someone to build their website and their entire stuff and have the money, right, Marie is available. So I will make sure to get your email out there. I've already put your website on the group, but
Thank you so much.
it's definitely a worthy investment if you aren't able to do it on your own. And if you want to put some money into the work, it's built with very robust, very easy to use. And Marie you've worked with Shopify, a little bit with
Shopify,
Squarespace,
WordPress,
WordPress. Okay,
Squarespace. Yeah, a lot of them.
great. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Marie. Thank you,
Thank you
Monica.
so much. It was a pleasure meeting you all and being with you today.
All right. Have a beautiful rest of your day.